We fucked it. Quite simply, yes.
Ryan
fucked it. Well, apparently I fucked it. We are all here. Kieran, Ryan and Callum, feel free to shout hello. Welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder, and welcome back to a very blunt apology introduction. I feel like I'm addressing the people at the beginning of the war. So we've just sat down and we've recorded a full 1 hour and 20-minute podcast in which you will hear in its entirety. Don't worry, your audible experience is still there. However, your viewing pleasures will be disrupted because me, and I will take full responsibility, me, Ryan Fitzsimons, forgot to press the record button on the camera I'm currently looking into. Kieran done his job. Kieran done his. He looked into the record button and pressed it, as you should. I, however, did not. So you have a view of me and Ryan McGinley for an hour and 20 minutes if you like, which would be fun to an extent, but not as fun as the two. So I am going to simply leave you with the audio for today's episode. If you even choose to go and listen on Spotify because it's easier, then feel free. But hopefully this mishap does not happen again. These things happen, boys. This is show business, and sometimes you've got to take it on the chin. Enjoy the podcast. I am going to end it all.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Or should I say, finally, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. Well done, boys. Well done.
I think they managed to drag ourselves here.
It's been a long 2 months in bed. I'm sure we've all enjoyed it. We are back, and we're back properly now. Episode number 71. The World Cup break is coming to an end, and so is ours. I mean, ours was a wee
bit longer than the World Cup.
We gave us a head start.
A wee bit longer, but we had our training to do. So it's been a long absence, and there's been people tweeting and commenting constantly throughout the last 2 months saying, "Where is the podcast? Get the podcast back." Well, I'm happy to say we are back, and it feels good. We're back in the G4 Claim studio. Thank you as always to the guys over there who give us this wonderful space, and we're ready to rip the arse at it every week again. Lovely. Right, so I may as well get into who's joining me here. By the way, number 71's, anybody got any names? There's only one that I could find.
Toby or William.
Yes, you cheated.
I looked up.
Yes,
Well done, mate. There's two.
Is there two?
Mm-hmm. One I think was very. I don't think he was.
Well, did you see the same one as me? Are you about to say Jeremy Frimpong?
Yeah.
Right, I can't find any proof of him actually ever wearing number 71.
It must have been just when he signed and then he maybe changed it.
What number did he wear?
35. But I don't remember him ever wearing.
I thought that was Christopher Ireland.
Oh, sorry, 30. Frimpong was 30. 35 was I. Cannot find one shred of evidence to suggest that he actually did wear the number 71.
Is that maybe his youth team one?
Maybe. But he wasn't even in the youth team that long, because when we signed him, and then he was in the team a few weeks later. Anyway, we're getting carried away.
Conspiracy theory.
Just before we go on, because it was O'Connor that was more highly rated out of the two of them at the start, and then obviously Frimpong just came through.
One of the best fullbacks in the world. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Frimpong though today anyway, until he gets his move and he makes Sellik some fucking money. Some fucking wonga, mate. That's what we want. Anyway, right, Kieran said he said, so I'll start with you. Kieran, I'm gonna start off the podcast for asking for a rundown from everybody. What the fuck you been doing for 2 months, mate?
Uni.
Nice.
With just 2 months cover. It was back to mid-October. I was going to say Leipzig, but I mean that was a lifetime ago.
Did we do a post Leipzig podcast?
I think you did on Zoom. I think that was the last one.
Was that the last one?
I was not present.
Oof. And we were meant to go to Madrid, obviously. We patched that off. So, but it's been a fun 2 months.
It's been alright.
It's been alright.
I can't really remember too much like what's happened, but
That's a drink, mate. That's a drink.
the demon drink.
The demon drink. Yes, Callum Craig, you're the other side of the table. I mean, am I allowed to mention your new employers?
No, that's allowed to be said. I'm just not allowed to say certain things as
Aye.
such.
So here's a word of warning. Callum is now the censored man on the podcast because he is now officially employed by Celtic Football Club. so you're looking away for Sellik now. How's that treating you?
Aye, good. I mean, apart from the constant asking, when's the podcast coming back? Obviously, they now know that it is back, but other than that, it's been decent.
You've got that jumper to show for it.
Oh, it was brilliant, aye.
The uniform.
Freezing cold on the door, but that'll do me.
Not bad, aye. Well, do you know what? It's good we've got somebody that's in the inside now. If we have any breaking news, you know where it's coming from. And then finally on this side of the table, Ryan, I feel like I've just constantly seen you for the last 2 months, mate, because of uni, but it'd be rude of me not to ask how the last 2 months have been. I'm sure the viewers are eager to know.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate the fact that we haven't really done it in 2 months, considering we're so far ahead now.
Yep.
We've lost a dear friend of ours in Giovanni Van Bronckhorst in that time.
I thought you were going to say somebody for the podcast. What the fuck's going on?
I know. But no, I'm probably the same as you, just uni, doing Just Eat deliveries. That's about it, really.
Nice.
I'm glad to be back.
Have you singing the song every time you go to the Katy Perry song, every time you drop off at the door? Is that part of the job?
Oh, the Katy Perry one, it took me a wee minute there because it's usually Snoop Dogg, but it's the
Katy
new
Perry one trumps it.
Nah, no for me.
What's your favourites? Katy Perry or the Snoop Dogg one?
Katy Perry one.
Aye, I
Really?
like it. The ring-a-ding-ding-dong.
I think it's just more memorable now. Like, I think just TikTok has
I
done that.
suppose.
Aye, that's it.
Sticks in.
Yeah, it is.
I'm more of a traditionalist.
Right, well, I mean, Ryan, you've kind of touched on what I wanted to open up the show with today, and that is basically a kind of catch up about the first half of the season and getting our thoughts on it. There is 4 of us. Just a disclaimer. It is the first time we've been in here in ages, and it's the first time we've done a 2-camera setup in ages, so if any of the video or audio sounds off or whatever, don't worry, we'll be getting back into things, hopefully Celtic will get back into things a lot quicker than what we do, but we're trying, so just bear with us. But first half of the season, I'll start with you, Kieran, at the other end of the table. It's obviously we sit together. It was a very enjoyable opening few months. We sit top right now. We are pretty clear of Rangers. You couldn't probably ask for a better opening portion to the season, near perfection.
I know, it's weird to be sat here in this position because, I mean, this time a year ago, we were, 6 points adrift, and then obviously the massive swing happened. But no, it's good to be in this position, but you know me, I don't like to get ahead of myself, and no matter how long it is, even in that Invincible season, I never got ahead of myself until
we're at home and dry April time. But it's hard not to get carried away sometimes, isn't it? Because you look at obviously how the Derby game went, you look at the state of the affairs across the road. Like it is quite hard to try and keep yourself focused on the end game because it is just a celebration right now.
And I do have to say I'm a bit worried, but you know, here they've got the brown brogues back across
the brown brogues. So that's
The
game
suits
over
are
now.
out.
I see that. I don't get that. I don't. The brown. What is that going to do?
Staunch.
Like it reminds me of that video. Remember the guy standing outside the Bristol or the Loudon? He bastards in that tacky.
He was beaming with pride when he read
Was that the Nacho Novo Joe Pasquale sort of hybrid?
Yes, that was. He'll be chuffed, as you say, Kieran. He'll be absolutely chuffed. You know, we could be in for a shock with a brown brogues back. Ryan, I guess we'll come to you for your thoughts in the first half of the season, but. Obviously there is change coming and Celtic need to be wary of that change. You never know how these things go. It could go well for Rangers, it might not. But I think that one thing that we learned from the opening portion of the season is when we focus on ourselves and we get our own job done, the other side, that will just take care of itself. So Celtic, first and foremost, is the priority.
Yeah, that's what I liked about the first half of the season. We just got on with our business regardless of what was happening at the other end of the city. We knew that their results weren't great, they were sketchy at best, but we just kept on winning and winning. Apart from that blip against St Mirren, but it seems to have helped us, because after that we won 8 games in a row, quite convincingly as well, apart from a couple of maybe last minute winners, but you can't beat them. Can't complain, 9 points clear, playing some nice stuff, and I'm looking forward to Saturday.
Oh, I can't wait for Saturday. And Callum, we've had the pleasure of being in Germany. We went to Poland as well. Obviously, European football is now out of the way for Celtic. Do you think that's, and we're going to come on to talk about the second half in a moment, but it's going to be interesting now watching this team without that kind of hurdle of having to balance between a European game on a Wednesday and then a game at the Saturday. Do you think that's going to help us going into a second half?
It does help, obviously, an aspect of it. You've not got as many games, you've not got as many tired legs. Not so much room for rotation, but again, we've seen what happened with rotation earlier in the season at St Mirren. So is it always a good thing? Not really. But no, it's been a good run in. As I said, 9 clear, you couldn't really ask for a better position at this, right? You just want everybody to keep pushing on with it, and not much else to say.
I know. I mean, I was going to drop in the dad joke. You know, it's -9 outside.
I've seen a couple of people tweeting that as well.
Yeah.
It's difficult though because we're trying to shake off the rust as well.
Yeah,
we've not done this in a while. So
it's
even
weird.
talking about Celtic at this point is quite weird.
I'm not going to lie. When you came to me first about what happened in the first half of the season, I think my head's foggy.
I was the same.
I'm trying to remember games.
Do you want to try and re-jog your memory ever so
So
slightly?
I can remember like the last minute winners and that. But
So
I really should have done a bit of prep before I came on here.
The last game that we played before the season came to an end was a 2-1 win. It was against Ross County. And do you know what? That game, honestly, feels like a fever dream to me because the only thing that proper stands out is Sayad getting that beautiful goal, like the way that he curls it along the ground.
I've got to say I've watched that goal about 50
it's-
times just for the fact that On the Floor comes on after he scores.
But the game in general, like, it doesn't feel like it's sort of happened. I think we've all been kind of swarmed with World Cup fever. So we had that 2-1 win, and before that, it was away to Motherwell, where it was also a 2-1 win, and we left it pretty late in that game. It was a bit nervy. I think actually we were 2-0 up to secure the win, and then Motherwell ended up scoring. And then before that, we beat Dundee United 4-2. So they were the kind of last 3 games after the Champions League had finished up. So there's just to jog your memory a wee bit. If we were to talk about the first half of the season, just to recap a little bit more on it, and I'll open this up for discussion. Anybody can answer here. Who's been the standout so far this season for everybody?
Probably from where he was last season in terms of him being quite tired because he just came off a season in Japan. I think Hitate's been phenomenal. I think he's running games at the moment, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him sort of continuing that on. But you could say other guys like Carter Vickers, Jota as well at the start of the season was absolutely flying before he got an injury.
Let some of the other boys.
Sorry.
Names and players as
I
well.
think the obvious one that is Greg Taylor. Before they got wrapped up for the World Cup, all you had was Player of the Year shouts already for him. And I mean, you can't say it wasn't undeserving because he's been playing class this season, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've no hated on the man before.
We've all said our fair share of things, Kieran, don't worry.
I don't know, when he first came to Celtic, it was one of the signings for a team like Kilmarnock. You're wondering, is he going to be able to make the step up? And it did take a fair while for him to start to show that he can be a decent left back for us. And I think the main concern was people were maybe happy with him last season being domestic level, but in the Champions League, people seem to think he can actually do a job there. Whereas at the start of the season, you're looking at that position, and we all thought Bernaby might have came in and been the starting left back. So it's just a weird thing to have happened. But see, just thinking about in the season in general as well. See the way we started off and we were scoring all the goals and that. You forget we were on a pure hot streak. Then everybody thought we were going into a mad crisis.
That's it. Hugh Keevins dubbed it the implosion, wasn't it? It was the implosion. Aye, that was a weird period of time.
I know. See, this World Cup break, it's actually fucked my head up.
It feels like everything was like last season rather than like this is the same.
Because it's been
same
a solid
season.
month now with it.
Aye.
Celtic game.
So
apart from
it was
Sydney Super Cup.
Aye, that's right. Aye.
It was all going really, really well, and then the Queen died, and then it
Christ,
sort of,
aye,
it sort of
that's right.
it chucked our sort of preparations under the bus, and then that St Mirren game, because I know we drew one each. With
I remember
Shakhtar.
being in, that was a horrible week for me because I was in Santa Ponza at the time, and I remember going, right, this is great, watching Celtic. I'll be in Santa Ponza for a Sellik game, be in Poland for a Sellik game. We ended up fucking it in Poland, and then we ended up fucking it while I was in Santa Ponza as well. I was like, Christ, you know, I don't leave the country was the message.
Yeah,
pretty much. But you're right, Ryan. And Callum, we'll come at you finally finish up. We've had Taylor, we've had Tati. Anybody for you?
I think O'Reilly maybe for me. See with him like drop him in just in front of the back four.
One thing we forgot was about McGregor.
Obviously that big injury in Leipzig when he's come in, he's filled that role perfectly. I think you still see him taking wee breaks of the ball and try to drive, but he knows when to sit at the perfect times. And obviously he did play that role a wee bit before, so it is nice to actually see him holding off a wee bit
Aye.
and letting the likes of Hatate run forward and get his run. Same with Tumbo as well.
And I think one thing as well, Cam, with McGregor coming back, for as good as it's good knowing that O'Reilly can fill in that role when we need him, but it's even better now knowing that we can have McGregor back and O'Reilly can maybe go back to scoring more goals, contributing goals, and being a wee bit further up.
Definitely, as you said, because that's what we were so used to with O'Reilly, was him being that forward running player, trying to take the ball and take a man on or such and move it on. But it is so much better knowing you have got your usual man sitting in front of your defence in Kelmac. It just gives you that extra bit of relief because you know you can trust him in there.
Yeah.
I knew we were going to have a Danish holding midfielder. I did not expect it to be Matt O'Reilly.
No, I know. And we'll come on to transfer stuff. There's talk about Abelgard, I think, circulating that he might not be at the club for much longer.
Really?
I've seen a couple of things, but we'll talk about it when we get to the transfers. But yeah, for me, I think the one who stood out with Taylor was my main shout, because I think he's already been player of the season to this point. But towards the end of the break, the guy coming into his own, and I don't say it to be because he's my favourite, but Haksabanovic has really started now getting into this and showing the player that he is. I was watching Sky Sports News the morning of the World Cup opener, or one of the openers. It was one of the first few games, and they had Sayad's agent on, and they brought up right at the end, he's like, oh, I got Sayad's moved into Celtic for the last minute, blah, blah, and I think all the Celtic fans will agree he's been a cracking signing. I'm like, yes, he bloody well has. And you know what, he's just so good at, coming inside and even just everything he does just seems to turn to magic. And it's good having that dilemma with Jota, Haksabanovic, Maida, all these wingers. It's just a great position to be in, really. But the one thing that I wanted to touch on was, before we come on to previewing the first game of the second half of the season, is do you think that this World Cup break might hamper some players? Because I was thinking today, I had a rogue thought, and I don't mean to turn things negative, but I thought of a guy like James Forrest, right, who was really kind of starting to get into a wee bit of form and such. See, with this break coming up, I'm just like, is he going to come back the same? Is it going to be hard for him to get back? I don't know. I just see, not just Forrest, I just mean anybody in general. Do you think this break can be a good thing or a bad thing for anybody in particular?
I mean, for the team as a whole, I mean, those last three results, I know we beat Dundee United 4-2, but it was 2 each until the very, very end, and we scored 2 late goals. I thought we were teetering a wee bit. I was like, because the games before that, I was like, I don't want this break to come, and then we played Dundee United, Motherwell and Ross County, and I was like, aye, this might have came at the right time, we'll take the 9 points clear, and we'll enjoy the break. But I'm trying to think of individual players that, I think the player that would hamper the most is Haksabanovic, because he was really getting into his groove, and then he has to stop. But they'll all be on the same boat now.
See, it's hard it's easy to forget, that how congested the fixtures were, having to play 2-3 times a week, in the space of 7 days. So it probably was a welcome thing for a lot of the players to just recharge and then go out to Australia and then
I think it was
closed door friendlies.
Was it October where it was 9 games in the space of a couple of weeks?
It felt like that anyway.
But that's what I mean about when I talk about somebody like Forrest, and this isn't Forrest slander before anybody mistakes me for just battering on Forrest for no reason. I know we do that quite a bit sometimes, but I'm just thinking okay, there was a lot of congestion, which meant a lot of rotation, and with that easing up a little bit, will we get as many chances as what he was getting? Will we see? I don't know. I'm a bit, and it's not just for him, it's for maybe a couple of guys. I'm just like,
I mean,
maybe
we're still, that's saying the team's got to get thrown right back into the deep end, because obviously we've got Aberdeen, then Livingston,
yeah, to be fair,
St Johnstone,
it's busy,
Hibs, then Rangers,
yeah,
and then obviously I think
it's just as busy actually when you look at it, because Aberdeen, Livy on the Wednesday, St Johnstone the Saturday, Hibs on the Wednesday, Rangers. So then it kind of eases it up a little bit. It's back to kind of weekly for a couple of games, but it'll be interesting to see. The first half of the season, though, I think we can all agree was a roaring success, which is all we can really ask for. Any other comments before we move on to talk about Aberdeen this weekend in relation to what we've seen? Sydney Super Cup, the Ennies stay up for that really late game.
Stayed up for both of them.
Did
well,
you?
Not stayed up. I get up
Stayed
early.
up for the first one. That was a run-out for no reason.
It was a long night playing Warzone, you know what I mean? No, I got up early for that one, and then I stayed up.
Did you? I just physically, I couldn't do it. I'm so glad I didn't for the second one.
I woke up in time for the second half of the first one, and I just went in for a shower and I fucking getting ready, went into the living room, and I seen fucking But who's it they're playing? Sydney?
Aye, Sydney,
Sydney
aye.
FC score. I'm like, fuck that.
Does that derail our season? That is the question. Poor tournament. Andrew. It was good to see. I liked all the images of being over in Australia. It looked great. I would have loved to have been there personally.
I want us to do the same for Japan, I'll be honest.
Well, I mean, the talk is that we're going to try for the summer, aren't we? So, are we going to get tickets? We're going to head over for the Far
There'd be
East?
some pilgrimage
If
for
there's
some
any,
of the players, man, brilliant.
multinational Japanese like Samsung, if you'd like to sponsor a live show for all the Japanese listeners of our show, then all 12 of them will come over if you pay for us to come over. Right, we'll move on to Aberdeen then. That's this weekend. It's the first game back, and it's a tough one to be fair. Like Pittodrie, not an easy place to go, and you consider the conditions right now. I mean, not to sound like an old you. I mean, it'll be freezing up in Aberdeen. I think it was the coldest part of the country the other night was Aberdeenshire.
Chateau, man.
Oh well, actually, we were up in Aberdeen, weren't we? Did you enjoy that? Would you go back?
It was a good night, but would never go back if I had the choice.
No, not that bad.
I don't think it was that bad. It's just Aberdeen, innit?
What about all of our Aberdeen Celtic fans that are listening?
Unlucky.
Support your local.
It's a tough game in Aberdeen. I mean, it took me by surprise when I opened up the league table earlier and I seen they're sitting third. It just blew me away when I seen that they were sitting third earlier on. They have actually been quite decent this season. Things are starting to click a little bit.
Miovski's been good for them this
Yeah,
year.
He
he's
has.
the joint top goal scorer.
Yeah, and then interestingly enough, I mean, Rangers are closer to Aberdeen than they are to Sellik. So it just shows you that Aberdeen have actually, that's no dig on Rangers, I'm just showing how close they actually are. They have had a good season. Calm, what's the story then for the weekend? Is it just about getting the feelers back out, or do you think we'll go for it straight away, just pound away?
I think you need
Pound
to.
till dawn.
Wow.
Pound till dawn.
I think you need to just go for it straight away. I mean, there's no point in coming in sort of try to feel it out like early doors. You want to lay the marker down saying that's the way we ended the break, this way we want to come back stronger than what we were before. It's if we go up there, it's always a tricky game. I can't remember last time we went up there and we breezed it, for example. I mean, last season was a very close game.
Yeah.
Jota scored the
3-2,
That's
aye.
right.
I mean, Jota played
Aye.
like part
Both
Aye.
of the games could have been like pivotal moments in winning the title last
Aye.
season, put it that way. And I feel this game, Callum, probably has the same effect. I know we're 9 clear, but it's one of those games that could be the test of character for a lot of players.
Definitely, obviously, despite having that cushion of 9 clear, you don't want them to rely on that too much in the mindset of saying, oh, it's fine, we'll still get 6 points to cushion us. Yeah. You still want to always be in that mindset, no, we want to be 12 clear, 15.
You don't want anything chipped after that. Like, you want to just lay down a marker and go and get the 3 points first game back, because as we say, it is a difficult place to go. I think our record there in recent times has been pretty good, to be fair.
It has been.
Like, it's just why the games into it. It's Aberdeen, they're always right up for it against Celtic and Rangers, so I don't know. I think it'll be a close one.
I think we're going to be rusty, but so are they. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Both teams are going to be rusty. They've not played in ages.
Did Aberdeen have any World Cup players?
I can think.
I don't.
I thought you were going to say, did they have any World Cup friendlies? Because I know they were in. they were in America for one of the games.
They definitely would have had a couple of games, but I'm just trying to think if they had any players go to the World Cup. I don't think so. But
St Mirren had an international.
That's right. Yeah.
Dundee United.
Dundee United, St Johnstone,
obviously.
St Johnstone. Aye, they had Wolverhampton away. But that's one thing I was going to touch on there. Like, obviously, I wonder what the situation is going to be with the likes of Carter Vickers. Do you think they'll still be out? Do you think they'll still have a bit of time before they come back? Or do you think because they've been out for a wee while now? It's been maybe a week or two. They could maybe come back in.
About a week off. I don't see them starting.
See, this is one of these things. We are recording this, just for clarification. We're recording this on Wednesday night. So Ange's press conference will probably be on Friday afternoon, and we'll have absolute confirmation then, and as to who's available and who's not. So right now we can only speculate, but the ones obviously to think about is Moy, who went out in the last 16, Vickers, who went out in the last 16, Maida, who went out in the quarters, and then Juranovic, he'll definitely not be there because he's got a game on Saturday. So it'll be weird to see. Ryan, we definitely have enough players to make up for the absence of perhaps them.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about a team without Carter Vickers, he's sort of like a safety blanket, I think. I think we always look a wee bit vulnerable without him in the team. He's just that good, he makes everyone around him better. He's that player that sort of enhances everybody else, but we should have more than enough to field a strong team and hopefully get the result.
It'll be a big game for Starfelt, because he obviously is just kind of back to action really, really recently. So it'll be a big game for him, because if he gets to play an entire 90 minutes, which without Vickers is very likely, it'll be good to see the kind of standard he's at just now coming back from an injury. And we can't play Kobayashi or
Johnston.
Johnson.
First of
yet.
January.
I know, that's a bad. That's
First
a
game
bad.
I know.
need to be against them.
Aye. I can't wait for that podcast. I cannot fucking wait. But
Johnston will be itching. I know we'll talk about him later, but
aye,
he'll be itching
he
to
will
play.
be.
Oh,
So,
100%.
any comments about Aberdeen before we get into some team predictions or anything like that? Anything at all? Open the floor. I'll sit back. My arse is sweating, by the way. Just fun from
Taking
that.
back to the first game of the season when we played them.
2-1, was it 2-1 or 2-0?
2-0.
Jota scored up your screamer.
So he did.
How can you remember that game but you can't remember the last game?
Because it was one of the worst days of my life. I was sitting there rough as fuck at the game.
What did we have the night before?
The hang at Lansfield Key.
Ah, that's right. So we did. Aye. It's all coming back to me now.
It was a sorry state.
That's a sorry state of affairs. Right, well, do you want to just get into what I predicted 11 could be for the Sellik the Thunder podcast then? In goals, Dominic Livakovic.
Wow.
Sign him up. I want him now. I want him through the door fucking now.
Did anybody else celebrate when he gave away that penalty last night? Or like, we might have a chance in getting him.
Have I kind of seen that wasn't a penalty?
I know.
That's
I
baffling.
must admit, I've not actually properly sat and watched the incident. Like, it kind of flashed before me while I was on my phone, and then I just kind of missed it again in the
People are like, oh,
highlights.
he took a shot. I'm like, he fucking wiped him it.
Aye. I did kind of briefly catch it, and it looked like a penalty, but I've just not properly sat and analysed
It
it.
was a rare W for Peter Walton in the studio.
It was a very rare
You know,
fucking W.
I know.
Do you see, like, do you know what I find funny? This is very off topic just for a moment, but do you know what I find funny? See, watching him work with people now that he doesn't work with in BT, like, you can tell that he winds Gary Neville up something rotten. Like, Neville was just like, what? He's like, you know what I mean? Never works with him. So, anyway, we're getting a wee bit off course. Keep it up with Joe Hart. I think we can all accept that. So the back four then. What do you think it's as simple as saying Juranovic? What?
No.
Ivanovic? No, it's not.
Somebody take it away. Ralston. That's his name. Ralston not playing in the third place playoff on Saturday, no?
Just leave it, right? You're digging this whole deep.
I know. So Ralston, Starfelt, Jens, and Taylor. I think that's the logical.
That's what it will be.
That'll be the four. I think that picks itself, sort of thing. Not Juranovic. Certainly not Juranovic.
Is Carter Vickers not back in training though? I seem to remember seeing pictures of him in training.
Maybe. You like somebody like the midfield discussion while I do some research. Then, who do you think your midfield three will be?
Gravison.
Did you see Gravison?
Um,
Gravison and Guemo and Hartley.
I think it'll be a very happy return for two things. We'll have McGregor
Gravison.
back. Imagine.
Imagine that he just walked.
Don't shout at the shooter.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
So McGregor will be back, you'd assume.
Mm-hmm.
If he's ready to play,
Yep.
you've got to play a captain.
Mm-hmm.
Hatate's got to play, and O'Reilly will be delighted to be back in that attacking midfielder's role. He's done such a great job deeper, but even seen in that bounce game against Rennes, he's so much better further forward because he's got that attacking power. And that first goal in particular was a screamer.
So to clarify, your three is Hatate, O'Reilly, and McGregor.
Mm-hmm.
Would you to agree with that?
Aye.
I think there's any question.
If he feels confident, and if McGregor feels confident in himself that he can start, then 100% it's him.
I've tried googling Cameron Carter-Vickers Celtic, and the first thing that comes up is Cameron Carter-Vickers leaves dad in tears as Celtic stars World Cup moment prompts emotional response. Well, that's just sad.
Tell you what I'll do, have a wee watch at this Lennox Town Unfiltered video.
Right, make sure your volume's turned
Aye,
down
of
before
course.
you blare the ears
For
off.
you, fuck's sake.
What?
Every video you play is just full volume. Don't even flinch or turn it down. Just
What do you mean, like?
just everywhere.
No, I was doing that in the bus back for Aberdeen. Listen, I've got bad hearing. Aye, right, so that's the midfield
So
three.
is everybody else in the bus.
Front three, then I'll let one of you used to go and the Perry's pick together. Go.
Jota,
Right.
Kyogo,
Right.
Abada.
the classic three for
The classic
season.
three, yep. Any
Has to be.
changes to that? Would it any?
Is this the front three?
Yes.
And did you? Sorry, I wasn't listening. Was it Haxa?
No,
Kyogo?
no, it was not. It was Jota, Kyogo, and Abada.
I don't
I
know.
think it'll be Haxa and Jota.
Do you think so?
Because
Yeah.
I mean, you need to think back to before the break. I'm pretty sure Abada wasn't getting the starts and that, wasn't he,
No.
So, because everybody was quite up in arms about that, but then obviously Forrest was banging the goals in.
See, I said,
Running it
this
back.
is like this is take me into my fucking FM series now because I'm like it's fucking difficult to pick a three because I have a feeling I'm on Callum's side because I have a feeling. Oh, there he is, Big Vickers.
And Moy was in training as well. So.
Maybe they'll play then. But I have a feeling Abada will play. I don't know why. Just gut feeling telling me that he'll be there and Hacks will come
I was
off the
watching
bench.
his midweek highlights video he put on Instagram yesterday. I'm like, fuck man, forget how good he
He
is.
is a player. He is a player.
Probably better away from home as well, I'd say, that sort of player, running in behind.
Right, we'll go quick fire around the table then and go for like all of our front threes. So I'm going to go for Abada, Kyogo, Jota, but I want Haxa, but I think he'll come off the bench.
I'm going to go for Haxa, Kyogo, Jota.
Right, okay.
Jota, Kyogo and Abada.
Okay, agree then.
Same as that.
So that's three and then you're on your own. Well, we'll see. We'll see who comes through.
Fucking hell.
Can he kick him out of the team after scoring? I mean, I suppose form goes out the window. I know it was ages ago. I know it was ages ago,
Hardly
but...
scored on Wednesday, then.
What?
He hardly scored on fucking Wednesday.
No, I know,
It was
but
fucking last
come
week.
on.
It is Wednesday, actually. Hardly scored the night, then.
Can he change a winning 11?
Well, you can. You
No,
certainly
no,
can. Oh, so we'll leave McGregor.
was joking.
We'll leave McGregor out then. How does that sound?
Well,
Oh,
not
wow.
kidding on.
Wow. Right, right, finally then, score predictions round the table. We'll go.
2-1 Celtic.
You're such a vanilla bitch.
9 each.
Cal.
3-1 Celtic.
3-1.
I'll go for 3-1 as well.
3-1. I'll go for... I was going to say 2-1 Celtic. I'll go 2-0 Celtic. Clean sheet for my boy Joe. It should be a game that we hopefully we start the second half of the season with a good win. That's all we can ask. And any final passing comments before we move the show on?
I'm just thinking about like Yakimakis and all going to like his transfer situation.
Yeah.
But, like, see, but like, I always think in these games I'm like, who is better suited to play against a team like Aberdeen? But Kyogo started like every one anyway, so I think it pretty much picks itself. But
He's very much number one striker, isn't he? Like,
Yeah.
He is Ange's favourite.
He's I love the pairing, but he does strike me as the sort of the main
the
man,
golden boy.
the golden boy, and why not? I mean, he's so lovable.
That's it.
Just grab his cheeks.
See the photos of him today on the big wheel at George Square.
No,
With Kobayashi as well, they were
I
sightseeing the two.
thought he was going to say with Kobe Bryant. I was like that.
Oh dear.
Oh, dear.
What's happened to Kyogo? He's a Kobe.
We're not getting to that.
Jeez, oh.
We're not getting that now. Right, okay. It's time for. I don't even. Is the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire tune still on this? I want to test this out. What the fuck was that? Oh my
Been
god!
arcade.
I don't know what it was. You would have heard. It sounded like Darth Vader talking for like a split second, but I turned it off, so we should have just missed it. We've got a new quiz game for the half-time quiz. Yes. What?
This is brilliant.
Brilliant. Aye, it's another one. Yet again.
I'm not allowed to say that.
I never heard you, right, so I thought you were maybe, I don't know. Anyway, right, we're going to play our half-time quiz, brought to you by Kieran as always. We'll probably alternate between all the different games we've got now, but today we're bringing the aptly named Kieran Auld and Ryan McGinley quiz game featuring Callum Craig. So there you go, that's the name. That's
I'll catch
name.
on, sure.
I'll need to get a graphic made, like, something for this. But that is the name of the game. What is the aim of the game? It's quite simple. It's effectively, who am I? So I will give out a clue. You'll all get a chance to guess and throw out any other.
So is this any different to like the original thing we've done? What was the original game this season? We've had that many comebacks.
There was who's that tick?
Aye.
Which was
the moving for clubs.
moving from
aye,
club to
aye.
club. So this is like clues to who.
Tenable as well, didn't we?
We have Terrible as well. We also have the normal quiz fashion. We've got a lot. We're a bag of tricks, really.
That's it.
So yeah, they can't count us out. Right, are you ready then for the first ever player of the Kieran Auld and Ryan McGinley quiz game featuring Callum Craig?
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay, so you play along at home. If you can get it after the first clue, I'd be stunned because this is very broad. So your first clue is, I have played in the top flight in England, Scotland, France and Spain. Obviously a former Celtic player.
Yes.
Or current Celtic player.
England,
So I don't want these hitting out with somebody like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who hasn't played the top flight in Scotland.
See if you answer straight away and you get it wrong, does that mean you're frozen out?
You're frozen out.
So that's like
Don't know if you
catchphrase.
Can you read out the nations again, please?
He played in the top flight in England, Scotland, France, and Spain.
Moussa Dembele.
No,
Oh,
it's not Moussa Dembele. However,
That's a good shout.
good shout. Good
Very
shout.
good shout.
I think the
He
only
didn't
one
play in the top flight in England, did he?
played for Fulham though.
They up to a couple of games.
I
A
don't,
couple
but
of
it's,
games in the
it's still a
Premier.
decent shout. It's still a decent
I'm just
shout.
hanging with the accuracy.
Okay, so you're frozen
That's
out.
alright.
Do any of you want to?
No.
Right, okay.
I'm not getting myself frozen out after.
Right, okay. So the second clue is I have played with Grant Hanley, Seydou Doumbia, Adil Rami, and Scott Brown. So there's your Grant
I want to guess one, but I don't think it's him.
Grant Hanley, Seydou
Fuck it.
Doumbia, Adil Rami, and Scott Brown.
FIFA 13 vibes with Seydou Doumbia,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
What a
yeah.
player.
I guess.
It's up to you, mate.
Timo Pukki. It's not.
Not Timu Pukki.
Grant Hanley.
It's not.
I know, that was it. As
Right.
soon as I heard that, I was
What
like,
was
that's what I think.
That was going done.
Right.
What was the team that Doumbia played for? He played for a team in England. I know.
Do you know the player?
No, I don't know the
Oh,
player. I know
right,
the team
okay.
that he played for.
Do you want to take a guess, Kieran, or would you like to hear the third clue?
I'd like to hear the third clue.
Okay, I won all 3 domestic trophies with Celtic, but they were across 2 separate spells. Oh, no, they weren't. No, they were. Okay, he had 2 separate spells. I've read. Sorry, Kieran. I have read your point wrong, so I will reword it just for clarification. He did win all 3 domestic trophies with Celtic, and he had across 2 separate spells. He was here 2 spells. So there you go. So that gives it away that it was a player on loan. Just for those
Oh,
who
no,
missed
isn't
it.
it?
Oh, Ryan might know. So you may as well have a guess if you can think of it, because Ryan might be able to just jump in straight away with the correct answer.
I mean, I think I'm going to get the correct answer.
So I'll remind you of all 3 clues. He's played in the top flight in England, Scotland, France, and Spain. He's played with Grant Hanley. Hey.
I'm
Hey.
frozen out.
Hey.
I'm frozen out.
Hey. Hey. No time. He's played with Grant Hanley, Seydou Doumbia, Adil Rami, and Scott. Imagine you went in the chase and you whipped a laptop out. Give me a minute.
Well, I mean, there is a laptop and Pointless.
Oh, fuck off. And then, so Grant Hanley, Seydou Doumbia, Adil Rami, and Scott Brown, and he's won all 3 domestic trophies with Celtic across 2 loan spells. Who am I?
Maybe I can't think.
Come on, you may as well guess a name. Think it's somebody we've had on loan.
I know, but the person I had in my head who was on loan didn't come back again. So,
Right, well, think of somebody came back again.
right, I couldn't remember fucking games. I fucking meant to remember that. It's foggy.
Come on, Kieran.
Grant Hanley?
Grant Hanley, yes.
I genuinely don't know.
Say a name just so we can unfreeze them.
Gravison.
It was not Gravison. You're all back in. You've got all your clues. If you really struggle, I'll give you one more clue.
Is there going to be like a pure obvious clue at the end, or?
No, that's a fuck. I'll get. So I'll start revealing slowly little bits of information. So for
Fucking hangman or something.
For Celtic, he played 55 games, scoring 15 goals. Okay. Nobody fathom, I guess, yet?
Paddy Roberts.
It is Paddy Roberts. Well done, Ryan McGinley. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well done.
When did he play with Doumbia?
Don't know, ask Keelan. don't ask me. So there you go. That is your player today in the first ever edition of it. If you got it at home before this shower of shite, then well done. It is Paddy Roberts. So, of course, he played...
Played with him at Girona.
Was it Girona? So he played for Girona. He played for, of course, a few teams in the English top flight. But he played for Man City, played for Fulham at a point, played for Norwich at a point. I think he's been at a few clubs. Don't know when and where in the top flight. The other two, well, the Norwich and whatever. Scotland played with Celtic. France, he played with.
I can't remember the name of the team, but
I remember him being there.
aye.
Isn't
that Troyes or Reims or
Somebody.
why the usual?
One of them.
And
In
again.
Spain, of course, Girona, and then Adil Rami, he would have played with in
Troy.
France. Was it Troy?
Yeah, he
So
only made
played-
one appearance for
played
Troy.
down there. Scott Brown, Sellik, Doumbia, as we heard there, Girona, and he won, of course, all the
He's
trophies.
still at Sunderland.
Yes, I believe he is.
Signed permanently.
Aye, he's there for good. Imagine being stuck
Him
in
and,
Sunderland for good. Christ.
Him and Ahmed Diallo.
Yep, he's been turning it up for them. Apparently, it's been quite good.
Found his level.
Right, okay, so there we go. That's the midpoint quiz over and done with. We can get on with the conversation because I want to try and dance over the last two subjects so we can answer as many of the questions as possible. So we're just back.
You got quite a few questions as well.
Quite a lot today. A good few. There's also a case of mistaken identity.
We'll come on to
We'll come on to that. Right, so transfer. Celtic have completed the signings of Kobayashi. His first name again is Yuki. I knew it because of Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki Kobayashi and Alistair Johnston. And also, there is a couple of murmurs about players on the way out, but we'll start with the players coming in. Callum, how nice is it to see Celtic getting their business done fairly early on again?
I mean, obviously, we get a wee bit used to it, but also the January window last season. But Ange, he knows what he wants, he knows basically what he wants, what he gets, and it's nice to actually have the board doing that as opposed to saying, oh, but we'll see if we get rid of him, we'll have the money to get him for you. They're just saying, no, if that's what you want, that's what you get, and it's nice for a change.
And you know, the thing is, you know, we're looking at areas again that we know we need depth and we know we need improvement and we're moving fast and we're going with options that, yeah, we might not know a hell of a lot about, Ryan, but certainly look on paper reasonable. And what's that word? Additions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was quite interesting.
A bit slow than
It's the first time back.
It's quite interesting to hear that Alistair Johnston first heard of the interest 2 months ago. That's well before the World Cup, so we've obviously been doing our homework, looking at different sort of leagues and markets. So we've seen that this guy's very much on the rise before his price was inflated due to the World Cup because he had a couple of good performances in the group stage.
I thought he was really good against Belgium.
Yeah.
Kobayashi, he's obviously a player that Ange would have known playing against. I think he'd played against him a couple of times for Marinos. Obviously played for Viso Kobe, so that he might have got some assistance from Kyogo. Maybe Kyogo put in a couple of DMs for him to come over. But yeah, two good signings, and it's so good to see that they can train before they're officially our players as well. If that means they're acclimatised, they'll know their teammates, so there isn't that sort of acclimatisation period. They'll just go straight in. Maybe not straight into the first team, but they'll be there.
Certainly options.
Yeah.
Certainly options. Kieran, what's been your thoughts on the two of them so far? We've obviously had the chance to first hand speak to them. Ryan spoke to Yuki, I spoke to Alistair. They seem like two cracking fits, especially Johnson. I think he just if he can walk the walk that he talks.
He seems to know exactly what he's talking about, even when he's just talking about the game itself. He seems very clued up. He's not just somebody that goes on the pitch and runs about like he does chicken. He seems to get into the tactical side of the game, and he seems to have a pretty good idea how he's going to be implemented into this team. And I don't think sometimes when you sign players like that, you think, are they actually going to come in and start? But I don't see. I mean, realistically, Juranovic has got to be away in January, so and that's another thing with the actual transfer business. I'm glad that we've recognised that that's probably going to happen. And we've planned ahead well in advance, and we've actually got somebody in. But I think out of the two new signings, I feel like there's been a lot more noise about Johnston just because he was
probably
at the World Cup and that. And I think even with Yusuke, what's his name again?
Yuki
Kobayashi. I'm just thinking Yuki saying Kobe Bryant.
Yuki Bryant and all that. But I've always hated World Cup scouting. Like, for the longest time, I hate it. I hate people who get praised just because they've had a good World Cup, because I think more often than not, World Cups provide more flops than success stories when it comes to transfers. But with Celtic, we've never really had that. I don't think we've ever went out after a World Cup and signed anybody, so this is really a first time.
I remember getting linked with, do you remember the 2018 World Cup, the Iran right back that done
the I was like, fuck off. No, I've never been one for World Cup scouting, but one thing I can say is I was genuinely really impressed with Johnston while I was watching him in all those games for Canada. Usually
I like to see as well what people of that nation are how they're talking about the player. They were all buzzing off him. They were like, this boy's brilliant. I mean, he's for 24 years old, he's got over 30, 40 caps for them as well. And that's coming into, I mean, they'll be hosting part of the World Cup as well in the next 4 years. So he'll be a stalwart for the next 4 years as well, which is brilliant.
He looks a good player, man.
He does. He speaks well. He speaks really well, and it's handy having those sort of people on the pitch because they'll talk people through the game as well. He's smart enough to do that. A lot of people commented on my upload of the press conference with him saying that he sounds like he could be like a coach. He seems very sort of
football intelligent sort of, guy gets the game. He's not just a good kicker of ball, as you said. He knows what he's talking about, and it's so interesting as well because he spoke so much about how his way of becoming a player is just so different from everybody else. It's like he's not exactly lucky he is where he is, but he certainly went down a harder route than what most players would have. The fact he used to play hockey, he went through the kind of weird system that the MLS has, and it took him a few more years. Like he wasn't a player at a good level at the age of 18, 19 as most Europeans are nowadays. He had to bite his time a little bit and kind of wait, and he's he's won the long game.
I think to the Japanese players as well, because obviously they go through the university system earlier, and they're not breaking into teams at 18 and that. It's 22, 23 before they're actually getting into first teams, which I think is quite weird. So when you actually contrast it with here, it's just so different. Like you're seeing players at 17, 18 getting thrown in there, in Europe and the rest of the world, every other week.
Yep.
I don't know. Wonder how that is for development wise, but
must be some laugh still having the university experience alongside it. I wonder if they're getting pished.
Kyogo's at a frat party. 2 months later, he's playing for.
Alongside that, though, Cal, we've also been linked with a couple of other players here and there. There's been the talk, of course, of Chogi Sung of South Korea. There was obviously links with the Tunisian boys. Was it Tunisian? Was it a Tunisian boy?
Mohamed Mag? No.
There's been a talk of a few players, is what I'm basically saying.
Well, midfielder, Tunisian midfielder.
I know that's been kind of rubbish, but there was obviously the talk of that. There's been another couple of players here and there that have come and gone. So, Callum, it does certainly look as though we're in for a busy window, and it comes off the back of that AGM where Ange obviously made the comments about how we're going to have to be prepared for our favourites moving on and such. Do you think that is just the signs of that now happening, like we are preparing for these eventual departures?
Definitely, I think obviously the big one is Juranovic. Like we all know he is going to be away, so it is nice that we have got the business done nice and early. His replacement is in there, but it does make you think if we're looking at a couple of these other players, then who is potentially out the door that obviously we've not heard anything about.
Aye.
That like it could be a shot. Like we could all get up the mortar, and next thing you know, somebody says like, "Oh, Hatati, for example, is linked to a move away," and like, where's that came from?
Yep.
So I think it's one of those you just need to keep playing it Bayern. Can only hope that all the favourites stay to the end of the season.
Well, I like that. It's a nice segue into talking about the outside of things, because we will talk about Juranovic in a moment, but talking about these surprises, I think we're all a bit surprised when we woke up a couple of weeks ago and we're seeing that Georgios Giakoumakis could be off, apparently in a bit of a contract debacle, and he could be one of the players that we see leave.
I think there was murmurings because he changed agents, and usually when you change agents, that means you want something different, because an agent doesn't get paid unless they get like a wee fee when they go into a new move. So if you put 2 and 2 together, I mean, you look at his age as well. He's just turned 28. He'll be wanting to get to the highest point in his career that he can while he still can. It's a bit of an interesting one though, because I mean, you hear numerous stories about him wanting more wages and that, and maybe, I don't know, coming off the back of the season, I don't know if that's warranted just yet. I know he scored 6 goals in the league.
Game like fucking once.
I think the story I heard was that in his initial contract, it was promised if he had a good first season, he would get a wage rise.
I read that.
And the wage rise they offered didn't meet what he thought he was
His
going to get.
expectations,
Sort of
aye. Which I think, it's hard to tell because we're not, at the end of the day, we don't actually hear these negotiations. We don't see what's being offered. We can't tell what the figures are. I feel like he does maybe deserve a bit more for what he has managed to give us. When you consider as well, he's not a guy who's playing every single week scoring goals. He shares the spotlight. And in sharing this, that probably maybe he does want the entire spotlight.
Because he's realising he's gone into his last few years in his prime sort of thing. He wants to go somewhere where he's going to get played as the main striker. Maybe he doesn't want to be part of like a bit part player. I'm not saying a bit part because he's played a massive part in this team. Like especially when Kyogo got injured last season. But he can't rely on Kyogo getting injured all the time for me. But I feel if you take a step back and you take off the green tinted glasses, we would never do that if we were in that position. He's Greek. He's came to Celtic. He doesn't really owe anything to Celtic at all, to be fair. It's a short career. If he's wanting to go and chase the money, then it's no nice for us because we like him, we want him to stay here. But realistically, a lot of players are seeing that they've got a few years. As Ryan says, he wants to get to the highest level he can in his career. Realistically, do I think he's going to get a big move if he does move on, I think it'll be a
Well,
sideways
this
step,
is
to be
the
honest.
interesting thing I was reading today. It was an article put on 67 Hail Hail, shout out to them, but I think there's a lot of interest in Saudi Arabia, which is one that kind of baffles me, because I'm like, I seen that for him, and there was somebody in Juranovic, apparently Torino have started talks
Torino's a
with.
weird one for him.
Torino's they've started talks with his agent, maybe. And obviously, you can only read so far into these things. But I'm like, if hypothetically, if Giacomakis was to end up in Saudi Arabia and Juranovic was to end up at Torino, I would be baffled.
So would I.
I'd be really, really baffled.
Especially the Torino one, I think, because I think they've only spent 20 million or that sort of amount once in their career. I can't remember exactly who it was for
In their career.
in their history.
I
say
got
that
it.
as if they're after- yeah,
I was
I
just
know.
funny the way you worded it. For
That would be a really weird one for me.
Aye. I know it would be bizarre.
Because remember our sort of last sort of almost dealings with Torino was Simonovic, but that was because he was so out of favour, and then he kind of came back and became a first team player. But I mean, they're not one of the big teams in Serie A. I'd expect him to go out a bigger one
I
than
reckon he
that.
will get a bigger move.
Yes,
I know you
Yeah.
hear the links, Barcelona, Man United, Chelsea. Like, how does it suddenly? Because
I think it's a
once
sort of-
again,
He's gonna
I'm
accept
not,
the first offer,
I'm not
right?
expecting him to end up at Barcelona. But what I'm saying is, I don't expect it to drop as far as Torino. Especially, I just don't see why he'd leave Celtic. I just think that he's going to have a much better opportunity staying in the Croatian national team by playing at Celtic.
Yeah.
And for actually just enjoying his career. He's never going to win anything at Torino.
It's one of those sort of one of those transfer offers that you just laugh off in Football Manager. You're like, why are you even here, mate?
Aye, it's weird. But Giacomakis, yeah, if he goes, and I've said this and you touched on it there, Kieran, whoever does leave in the coming windows, whether it be this window or the summer window, all of them, unless obviously bad things happen, will all go with my best wishes, because you know, we're at that point now. Things happen, and you know, bleh.
Just before we move on, I think it's important to sort of highlight what Ange said. He says we've got to be more aggressive in the transfer window. This is going to happen, and I think us as the fans and the support, we need to get used to this now. That
I think it's
our
breaking the
favourite.
mold sort of thing what we're used to, because we all say we want to move forward as a club. This is part of doing that. If we want to copy the models other clubs across Europe, but they sell their best players, but they get people in straight away, and you see teams that, I mean, even teams that obviously far better teams, but even teams at Leipzig and that, when they lose a player, they've got somebody coming straight through.
Yeah.
It helps that they've got the feeder
but
club
yeah,
out
yeah.
in Salzburg. Yeah, that's what we need. We feeder club.
A wee feeder. Who could be your feeder?
Albion
club?
Somebody
Rovers.
asked that question.
No, in fact, people would be quite angry if I said that.
Really? Right, well, I think in terms of transfers, we'll talk about that a hell of a lot more as we get into January. There's a big, you know, the fact is, it's still 15, 16 days until the window actually opens. So, you know, we're getting our talking early.
We're nearly getting to that point a year ago. Remember that Hogmanay? Was it Hogmanay the day before they found out the three Japanese players were coming?
Yeah, that's right.
We didn't even talk about one of the players that could potentially be leaving.
Oh, fuck, we never spoke about Ideguchi. Aye, he may be
we
off.
kind of forgot about him. Like, I
Aye.
feel like Celtic have as well, to be honest.
I know, he doesn't exist, really, does he?
Alloa killed him, didn't
Yeah,
they?
it did.
That boy stood in him.
Rest in peace. You would have loved.
But do you know what? He was a punt as well. I see a couple of people saying, "Oh, he was the best out of the three when we were going for them." I was like, I don't remember that being the case. I remember everybody raving about Hatate.
I feel like maybe in terms of because he'd played for Leeds,
Yeah.
he'd signed for Leeds previously. But I mean, that was something that when we signed him, I was like, he already came out of Europe. I get it.
And he played at the Grufer Fürth as well in Germany, as one of the
And
German
Weirdly,
Germans
sides.
as
again,
well.
he had two really bad injuries in both. I think it was both of his loan spells. He had two really bad injuries, so he had hardly any game time in those 2 years.
He's not had a lot of luck, to be fair.
He has not.
I think
Send him back to
sometimes
uni.
when you do get players in, they need a string of maybe no good fortune for others, but a bit of bad fortune for their teammates gets them a spot in the squad, and it's just not happening for
It's
them.
difficult, isn't it?
Listen, 2 out of 3 isn't bad.
No, it isn't. And if you open it up to Kyogo as well, 3 out of 4 from the J League so far has been a good success. And hopefully Kobayashi fits into that, and he's more on that side than the Gucci side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Itaguchi's had more hairstyles and appearances, probably.
That's very true.
The man does like.
Do you know what? He's always buzzing on the sidelines when we score. I love that.
Keeps him for team morale.
Right, we have got a power of replies for today's comeback episodes. I think there's about 40 questions in here. We're 52 minutes into the recording, so we'll power through as many as we can. We might not get through all 40, and we might have repeats from what we've had in the past. So we'll try. But it's good to be back, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Good to be back. Hopefully we'll be back more consistently as well as the
From my memory starts to come back.
mine's is just, and especially because in December you drink a hell of a lot during the Christmas period. There's a lot of nights out and stuff, and it kills me. I have lost a fair whack of brain cells.
I think it's pretty wasted.
Doesn't even feel like it's Christmas next Sunday though. I don't know about you.
Nah.
It's probably because the World Cup on.
Saying that as well, but it just doesn't feel that close.
No.
Yeah, I know. I don't even bother with Christmas that much anymore. I really don't. It's never.
I'm a hug money guy.
Yeah,
Better when you were away.
It was,
Nah,
it was just,
100%.
it's far better when you were away. I mean, nowadays it's just yeah. Anyway, right, let's go. I forgot Powell on a teeny zone tonight.
Apparently it was Mince last night. That's what I
Aye.
was reading.
Aye.
It was kind of like his Transmit set that he was doing a lot of sort of remixes of his original songs. I'm like, I want to hear Jenny Don't Be Hasty from like 2009. I don't want to hear like a
I
reimagined
hate that.
version.
See when artists get pure bored, they're like singing it the same way they've sang it, and they start pure fanning about it.
Well, don't write the
I've paid
fucking
money to
song.
come and see you.
That's it.
Right, let's get these kicked off then. The first one we've got is from Ahashadis. Mate, you tell me AHSAHDIS. Ahashadis. I sound pissed, don't I?
Yes.
It's like when I talk
Where
after
is this one?
the house whiskey. The house whiskey.
The what? It sounded like something else.
The house whiskey. I don't know what you think I said. Right, okay, right. I don't know when the transfer window starts. but-
Asadis.
Is that? What is that?
You need to put down
Asadis.
Take me out back. Is that? I don't know.
It'll be a sadist.
Right, okay, it's a saddest then. Sorry, mate. Sorry, I got your name wrong. Right. Right, I don't know when the transfer window starts, but let's just say for the derby, we've got 3 right backs. At the moment, who do you pick for your starter and your bench? You've got so basically, fuck one, marry one, or kill one. You know. So who you fucking? Get on now. Who is starting? Who is starting? Who is benching? Who is dropping?
Start Juranovic.
Right.
You play your best 11.
Okay.
Juranovic is our best right back at the moment.
I'd be starting Juranovic.
Yep.
Yep. So Juranovic starting. Then it's a hard one, isn't it? Because do you know what? I'm going to say things just in a fair way. Johnson, if this was the case, and it's not going to be the case, this isn't how it works. Obviously, we can have both on the bench. But out of the duty of fairness, and we say that Johnson starts from the day after, I'd put Ralston on the bench and I'd leave Johnson at home. Just
I
because
would agree with that.
Ralston has played this season and played pretty
Squad
fucking
harmony,
well.
squad harmony as well. You wouldn't just bring in a guy and then automatically put him in there.
Yeah, so we all agreeing then. That's simpler than I thought there, actually. Kieran, well, thank you for the quiz. Who is at Powell on the Teeny by the looks of things? Says favourite Powell on the Teeny tune. I'll start with you, Cam. You love a bit of Powell.
Yeah. Quite enjoying Acid Eyes enough, his newest album. Just mixing it up a bit, but if you're taking it classic, it's to be Candid, innit?
It's Candy yours.
It's just
Mine's
so-
is Jenny Don't Be Hasty. That's mine.
It's a cracker,
If you're,
innit?
if you're going for a proper like classic, there's a couple of ones after the new album I like, but if you're just
These
going for
streets. Oh, fuck no, there's
I'm
too
just-
many.
I'm just going for my prop. Like, you know, I always like it's the same with every big band and that. Like, you're never going to lie. The big hits are the big hits for a reason. People fucking love it. Anyway, right, used to favourite Powell song.
Probably Jenny Don't Be Hasty, but special mention to his cover of Caledonia.
Oh,
That's a
Oh,
cracker.
That is good. Aye, right.
Let Me Down Easy from Caustic Love. That was a good one.
That is a
About
good
8
one.
years ago.
Good shouts. Good shouts. Ad the lad says, tell us your worst Euro away day memory. Your worst Euro away day memory.
Waking up in Poland next to you.
Thanks.
It's just simple, plain and simple, mate. Rolling around and seeing you rough when your face looks swollen.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
Nicest way possible.
I don't sleep. I don't wake up.
What do you do in your sleep?
I don't know. You tell me. You're sitting in bed with me, mate.
You'd have thought we went 10 rounds or something.
You must have vivid night terrors. Like, honestly.
My night dreams are full of rainbows and butterflies.
Worst memory? I mean, it would be the travelling aspect. Like,
Oh yeah.
sitting in Edinburgh Airport, the flight was meant to be out.
Oh,
Nah,
fuck.
driving back from London.
Oh, that was brutal.
That is the
But
worst.
Sitting in Edinburgh Airport, the flight to Krakow was meant to be at 6 o'clock.
Oh, I wasn't here.
That's delayed a wee bit. We're sitting there, my pints have been drank. That just says fucking what is it? Redirected or
Aye.
diverted. I was like, what? Then Katowice comes up in the morning. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Flies in there. We don't get there till about fucking 1 in the morning, and we're sitting on some stinking bus all the way through. The plan was originally to go for a pint when we got to Krakow at about just before midnight.
Yeah.
Didn't get into the fucking apartment till 5 in the morning. Then see, try to get full asleep. This cunt snoring in your ear.
I can only applaud
You're a
it.
bad snorer, son. Well, since if I told you the story about the Belarusian taxi driver?
No, you haven't.
Oh my! This honestly, I thought that was it. I thought I was dying. I thought that was it. So obviously they got that. They've just told their story of how they got to Poland. But I was in Santa Pons at the time, so I flew to Poland on my own. I went to Poland on my own accord, with my own flight, and I met them when I got there. So I land at Warsaw Airport, not international like their version of Prestwick, and I land. And I go to the taxi rank. And I book my Uber. The guy pulls up, and I go up to him. I'm like, "Can I pay with card?" He's like, "No, cash only. Go lift cash." And he follows me to the ATM. So that's the first thing I was like, "Oh, so this isn't great." But he stands there respectfully. Later on, I find out he's a nice guy. So anyway, I get in the taxi, put my bag in the boot, and he sits me in the back seat. We sit there for a couple of minutes. He's no moved. I'm just sitting on my phone, and he turns around and he goes, "Excuse me, I am Belarusian, and my friends have just landed from a flight in Belarus. They're also going to Warsaw. Do you mind if they come in the taxi with us?" And I was sitting there in the taxi myself. I'm like, "Oh dear." I'm like,
Your body's coming back in pieces.
I was sitting there like, I suppose so, mate. And he goes, good. He's like, "Come into front seat." So I get into the front seat, and then he gets out, shuts the door, and he says, "I'll be back in 5 minutes." And I'm sitting there in the middle of this car park in Warsaw, in the front seat myself, with the radio playing mad eerie Polish rap music, sitting there, voice noting name in a pub and telling him, "Boys, I'm about to die. I'm about to die."
I don't even remember checking my phone.
And
as well.
then he comes back. You were telling me to get out. You were like, "I get out the fucking motor." And then he comes back 5 minutes later while I was thinking about doing a runner. And he brings the couple in. There's a couple in the back seat. And they were lovely. Like, "Hi, blah, blah, blah." But we just started driving, and they were speaking away in what I don't know if they speak Belarusian or Russian or whatever, but they were speaking away. And I was, "This is it. I'm going to ditch my body off the side of the fucking motorway." But it went well. Few dodgy turns. I was all right, and I finally managed to make it to the wrong pub, because Mark gave me the wrong fucking address, but I eventually got to the right one. So that was probably one of my worst Euro away days, but it was fun to travel yourself.
Our conversation was in Belarusian.
Belarusian. I didn't know if it was an actual language or not. Anyway,
I was sitting there with fucking Google Translate.
I was for a bit. I was sitting there with it on my knee, like doing the mad thing, like to let the speaking go in to see what they were saying. I was waiting for it to come up, like, "Yeah, we'll leave the boy here," or something. It was all right. Right, AJ Celtic, lovely to see you. What flavour? Now this has to go to Kieran, the vape expert. What flavour of vape does Georgios Yakimakis have?
I think he's a blueberry sour raspberry, man.
Really? Okay, I'll take your word for it. I like the Crystal Bar ones. They're all right. Vimto was nice.
I'm a blue fusion, man.
Is there such a Fanta lemon flavour?
I don't think so.
Because if that was, then GG would be smoking that. But I don't know if it is. Oh God, that's a question for another day. Aaron Smith's left a belter, but would be here all night. Fucking, what would be your dream all time?
I was going to say to you before to prepare 3 each.
Right, we'll do that next episode. Keep it in mind. We'll put it in the chat and we'll bring it. Aaron, we won't leave you ignored, son. We will get into it. Add the lad again. Where the fuck have you been? Number one. Away. What's that?
Cutting a bit.
Cutting about that only an excuse sketch is like, "I'm away, but I'm back." And number two, what is the dirtiest and best hangover scran?
Chinese.
Would you go Chinese, really?
I don't know. Oh no, spicy chicken pizza for sure, girls, man.
Nice shout.
Banging.
Nice shout. I like a simple Big Mac meal when I'm rough. I must admit.
McDonald's
does the job. Does the job.
KFC's one, it sounds good.
Aye.
And then you get it, and like,
Just
on
dirty.
Sunday, my flaming wraps came, and they'd been left on the grill thing too long, and they were burnt, and
Oh no.
a tear just started rolling in my face.
Unexplainable. Just starts rolling.
Just sat there, just staring at it.
What's yours, Cal? What's your go-to on a Sunday?
Don't know. McDonald's is what 5-piece chicken salad meal.
Oh, it's not bad.
Just plain and simple. Does a job.
It depends, because sometimes we get like a roast dinner on a Sunday.
I hate that. It's the worst. See, when I'm rough and my ma shouts on me and I go down the stairs and there's some fucking roast beef sitting there, I feel like picking up the plate and throwing it at her. I really do.
What's the last nice you want to fling food?
Nothing worse than going downstairs on a Sunday, rough as balls, and you see the fucking slow cooker.
Same idea.
Just like a chicken pakora and chips. Just simple but effective with pakora sauce. I've only gotten into pakora sauce recently. I'm fussy as fuck, but
I don't like pakora sauce.
do you not like it? No.
Pakora sauce.
But A McDonald's does a chick as well.
I see. I woke up this morning. At first I thought it was me, but I opened the door, top of the stairs. No, went into the kitchen. What was sitting there with the on switch, slow fucking cooker. I was devastated. There's nothing worse
See,
than
in
this
terms
slow
of
cooker.
dinners as well, right? Like, see people that try and kid on mince and tatties are good dinner, they can get to
No, it's fucking honking, man. Who likes mince and tatties? Like, who goes, yum, yum, yum.
I've never had it before.
Have you know?
See, if it, I think you.
Really?
It's
See,
just
honest,
such
I
a
was expecting
you.
a bit of backlash for you.
No, I'm an honest mince and tatties hater. I love haggis. I'll take haggis. Give me your haggis. Give me all your haggis. I love a bit of haggis. But
Is this a hold up?
I can just imagine one of those places in Edinburgh, one of those gift shops, you coming in, give me all your haggis and your tartan tea towels.
Anyway, there we go. There's a hangover scran. Cal, back in as always. Love to see you, Cal. Keep up the TikTok, son. He said, should we have a more technical player on penalties like O'Reilly or Jota? Fucking hopeless whoever takes him nowadays.
As soon as we get a penalty, I'm like, fuck man, mate.
Get it, Joe.
Pass it back to the goalie. Just save us on it.
I don't know how the Sydney Super Cup has affected the sort of running order of penalty kick takers, but if that's
Stevie
anything to
Richard
go by,
would take them.
if it's anything to go by, Yakimakis should be off of them now.
Aye.
He's pish.
Aye. I think they should just start taking somebody out of the crowd every week. Every time we get one. That's your
Try the
turn.
Paradise windfall early.
Get one of our paid actors to go and do it.
Yes. I don't know who I'd stick in penalty. No, honestly, we just need to find somebody who... Because Juranovic is my usual go-to, right? But he's missed a couple now, hasn't he? And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know.
Didn't take a penalty for Croatia either in this World Cup.
I know. I was stunned by that, to be
Was
honest. Probably time Panenka. But aye. Food for thought, who should be the penalty taker?
It'll probably go back to Kalmak, won't it?
Aye, he's missed a couple as well now, hasn't he? We're fucking hopeless.
As I said, just pass it out.
Aye, maybe like...
Do you think Jota's got a good penalty on him?
Surely,
I think that's the point Cal's making, to be fair.
aye.
Like, him or O'Reilly.
Who's came in again? Johnston, stick him on them. He'll surely just... You know what, dude? It pisses... And we have to have an honest and open conversation for a minute. How is there so many professional football players who can't take a penalty? It's fucking ridiculous. It's embarrassing. It is genuinely... But see the penalty shootouts, the standard is shocking. What happened to sticking your laces through it? Why do so many people do these mad funny...
And Harry Kane tried that with my hand.
True. What has happened to the world? How can
See,
nobody
when you see
take a
such an
penalty?
experienced player in Sergio Busquets, see that run up, it made me sick.
Like, I just don't get it. Just hit the penalty.
I know.
Like,
Down the middle, I love to see that.
I love it down the middle.
See the other day, somebody put a penalty down the middle.
two in a row.
That's vintage.
Two, was it,
That
They mean
fucks with the
business.
goalie's head,
was it
man.
Argentina that put two down the row? Two in a row down the middle?
I think it might
But
be.
against Holland. Sure it was.
Was it?
I think it was. Two in a row down the middle. That's so smart. And this penalty shootout, especially, the keeper's always going to dive the penalty shootout.
Because it made him stand still for the third
Fuck,
one.
aye,
didn't it?
aye.
That not happening in Croatia v Japan as well. I'm trying to think of
Maybe.
the game that I watched.
Trying to
it
think
in.
that far back.
Go on, didn't he?
Right. Anyway, we'll move off the penalties before I blow up. Let's see. Boy in red, he says the Celtic defender is trapped in a desert island. Which member is first to be sacrificed for food, and why is it Fitzsimons?
I was just about to say Ryan.
Why me? I've got so many useful traits. I was a Boy Scout.
You're definitely first to die.
It's not going to be me because I'm too small, and the thing is, there's less meat on me. Why would you just kill me?
I don't know.
Like it's quite a shite argument as well, isn't it? Like it's me trying to save myself here.
You'd make a fine hat out your hair.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's got a wee bit more height now.
We could maybe like fashion up something to keep us warm. I don't know. I've accepted my fate. I knew it was going to be me. You would have me in a fucking rotisserie pole in the time. Tied up. Hog tied, that's what I call it.
Make it weird, right?
Just a side note, I know you talk about F1 sometimes, but this has nothing to do with F1. It's just
you
a
got me
side
excited.
TV show. If any of you watched that Traitor since it's came on BBC,
Can't say I have.
phenomenal.
I'm in a
Absolutely
film kick
brilliant.
now. I've been watching
Aye.
a rapid amount of films.
It's because you got one of those letterbox things.
Well, aye, that and just bored, mate.
It's Ryan's new personality this week.
Aye. Apparently I've got...
So you've not watched a film until you put it on Letterboxd? Like you need to tell everyone that you've watched that film. To be fair, I've done that at the start of the year as well. So
all nine. It was rotten.
That's
Now
a good
you
name.
see.
Now you see it's good.
Are you going into every film expected to be a fucking masterpiece?
No, but it generally was a bad film. I didn't enjoy any aspect of it. I thought it was rotten.
You enjoyed
It wasn't
the
even- it wasn't
Is that the
even- it wasn't
magician
even-
one?
It wasn't even fun. Wasn't even fun.
There's two of them,
At
aren't
least like Kingsman, right?
It's great fun.
Kingsman by no means are good. They're quite poor movies, but at least they're fun. They're enjoyable. And Now You See Me, I hated every minute of it. It was pish.
Miserable
What's
bastard.
the best movie you've seen this year?
Matilda the musical. It was good, mate. It was good.
Stephen Graham can go no wrong.
I know exactly. No, I would go for if I was to be serious, I'd probably go for the Batman.
That was quite good, aye.
I've not really seen any new releases apart from like Elvis. Elvis I'll go for.
I'd probably go for Elvis as well.
I'd
Aye.
go for Elvis. 3-3 there. Callum will be you.
I think it is between that and Batman. I think.
The other two that
Enjoyed
stand out to me.
both of them.
Aye, don't watch that Amsterdam pish either. That was rotten.
Don't like the look at that.
It was quite poor.
Which is quite surprising
Yeah.
considering I liked Silver Linings Playbook and American Hustle. So
Might watch one of them tonight, Ryan. Well done, son.
American Hustle's a good shout.
phenomenal movie.
Suggest that.
Phenomenal movie.
Well, welcome to our film podcast.
You could easily do a film.
He came studied film for a brief few months. Right, any realistic options that have impressed you at the World Cup, apart from Johnson says, care?
That Messi boy's quite good.
Aye, surely if he gets beaten this Sunday, he'll be free to go. Yeah. I don't know. There's been a few of the African players who have looked good. Moroccans, Ghanaians. There've been a few that have actually looked pretty decent. But I don't know. Obviously, where Celtic would look.
The boy that's at is it Angers? I don't know how you pronounce the name of that,
yeah,
but
in France.
he's gonna go for quite a bit. I
Aye.
think.
A lot of people were getting a bit carried away with Harry Souttar, weren't they? A lot of people were saying we should sign him. I was like, right, let's calm down. He was all right. I mean,
No.
it's all right. It was fine.
I wonder if people want to sign Jackson Oven just because he went in the
Mate,
retro set.
I would for that. A handsome
Bring him back.
fella. What a handsome fella. Right, here's the mistaken identity. Elliot
we go.
said, first of all, lovely to meet you yesterday, Kieran. Mustache looking sexy. That's looking good, isn't it? What happened to it?
You've just done that in spite of him.
So I think what he meant to say was calm. He says the moustache is looking sexy, but first, but my question is, I've got a spot with it, man. But my question is, do you think we should take the Brentford approach when it,
Moneyball.
it's so many. Do you think we should take the Brentford approach when it comes to youth, i.e., no academy but have an affiliate? Or do you think Lawal, Vata, etc. will break into the team?
I don't know how much faith I have in all these players breaking through. I think
I feel like I've had this discussion quite a bit.
Lawson
In terms of,
Lawal, like the two standouts. Obviously, that's why he's mentioned them. But I don't know. I feel like I've done a couple of articles on it last year in college about how I feel like there's no a clear path to the first team. When you look at the squad, you've got players that came through the academy, but it feels like when you look at clubs across Europe and that, they've got players coming through on a consistent basis,
Yeah.
where yours feels really, really patchy.
scarce. It's
Like-
like, every few years there's somebody.
But
McGregor.
I feel like I don't know. I just feel like we should be producing
Yep.
more.
We should.
But I feel like there was so many age groups where there was just no that many good players in it. It sounds harsh, but
Aye.
you got your standouts, feel like Tierney and that, but a lot of the players that Tierney and that came through with, even people like Calvin Miller and that were touted to be like the next best thing, end up doing playing
Yeah.
for Notts County and that, didn't they?
I think it's just a problem in Scotland altogether. I think fundamentally a lot of the things that other countries do right, we do very wrong. And that's the reason you see everybody bringing up this statistic about Croatia having a smaller population. There's a reason, because football is better played and it's easy to access ultimately. It's just, I think there's just a whole lot of issues that come along. It's not a Celtic problem, it's a Scotland problem.
How many streets do you go down in
Oh,
Scotland
you know.
and it says no ball games?
ball games.
It's such a deterrent.
Every football pitch looked at. I've seen a lot of people
300 quid to
talking
rent
about
a
that
park
on
for
Twitter,
a
to be fair.
90 minute and all that. There's a lot. It's one of those ones. There's so much to it. It's a huge discussion in its own. But Celtic need to rethink about how they get players through into their team. They definitely do that.
But I
As a
feel
part
like it's
of it.
probably down to the fact as well. It might be down to if the quality is there or not, but I feel like a lot of fans would rather see us go out and spend £3 million on somebody for another league than try and implement somebody for the youth team, because I don't know, I feel like if you feel like you've spent that money, you feel like they're going to be better, even though you could just try and nurture talent. But
There's also it's just the league that we're in, because like we're obviously competing with Rangers. It's been close the past couple of years. People don't want to risk a player, throwing in a young player, or throw in 3 or 4 young players. They want the sort of ready-made players or the players that we've brought in rather than youth players.
Yep.
So it's just all about finding that balance, I think.
Right, Cam, I'll give you this one. Caden said so Jota's obviously started on Instagram, and he's only following a very select amount of people.
Aye.
And one of the pages that he follows is F1 out of the 10 that he was following at the time. So, Callum, any guesses as to what driver or team that he supports?
Yeah, it's quite a good one.
I feel like he'd be a Carlos Sainz man. I don't know. There's just something about Carlos Sainz and Jota. I don't know. That's what you don't agree?
I don't know, maybe Leclerc. It definitely seems like a Ferrari man.
I feel like he's a Ferrari man, isn't he?
Did you notice that R9 follows him, but Jota doesn't follow R9 back? Aye. Like, that is such king shit from our winger.
Right, a couple of questions we've all already had. How many piss-ups has Keaton Hill been on during the World Cup, and will the lads be watching the old PDC darts over Christmas? Of course I will be.
Yep. Absolutely.
Cannot wait for
15th for the starts on it?
Yes, I think so.
Is it not tomorrow, no? Oh, tomorrow is the 15th.
Oh,
So.
that's what we wrote about then.
Keelan, how many piss-ups you been on during the World Cup?
I don't think it's that many, but I'm sitting here and I fucking
There's the answer to your question.
fucking bits here.
who do you think's going to win? I think Smith's got a really good chance because he just won that competition back there.
I'm just going to go out and go for the guy I always say. I'm going to go for Big Gary Anderson.
Really?
50-1 shot.
Big Gary Anderson, mate. I always go for Gary. Right over him. He's Scottish. You know, I'm a Scotsman to win it. So.
Scotsman won it last year, to be fair.
Scotsman.
Come on.
Scotsman.
We'll take him.
Halfway.
Beggars can't be choosers. When Scotland, come on.
When he wins, he's Scottish. When he loses, he's fucking English. Nah, I do like Peter Wright, to be fair, but apparently I was calling him Peter Wrightley, did you say?
Peter Wrightley, aye.
No.
No, you weren't. You were saying Peter Wright, but you were saying Wrightley quite a lot in the sentence. It was just making me think of the way you would spell it if you were saying it.
Right.
I would say controversial opinion. I love Gavin Price.
It just annoys me.
He's just a total character.
He's got one of the faces you'd never tire of slapping.
You wouldn't slap him, no, would you?
It's slap and run my flip.
That's what I do with Jeremy Kai Stephen fucking hanging years ago. I think he's like, I'm more of a draft.
I'm a draft player.
Right, couple more questions. Let's see. But by the way, just throw it out there. Dembele, yes or no?
I mean,
It's
obviously,
never.
take him back.
I'd take him, but
It's just a shame he's the wage structure.
aye.
So you'll be getting offered about
Not gonna happen.
100 grand a weekend.
Yeah, it's never.
Did you see the?
Playing for a team in Turkey.
Did you see the media were like saying this is some big failure? The fact that we're not getting much money for him if he does move.
Aye.
You're like, wow.
You know,
Is that really how low you need to go, or how far you need to dig to find a negative?
Press is just a fucking cancer, man.
Yeah.
That's that since the Messiah came in 2 weeks ago.
Hannah asks, even if Giakoumakis were to stay, do we still need another striker?
I'd probably say so, yeah, but just to maybe a young up-and-coming striker that's going to break through, because inevitably one of them will leave at some point, so we need somebody to come in straight after. You want to sort of bed somebody in that's maybe just below these strikers, but can maybe get better and then make his way into the first team.
I think it's something you'd like the idea of, but we're struggling now to keep two people happy. But I mean, you're hearing these murmurs of Giakoumakis back. What happens if we bring in a third one that's also capable of starting? So it's like, have your cake and eat it, but you need to deal with it.
Right, and just to finish off, we'll end it in a scran question. Thoughts on the new McCrispy? Anybody had it?
Quite like it.
I
don't know. Does it actually come with cheese, or have the cunts of McDonald's just been kind to me and put a slice on?
No, I think it comes with cheese.
Is it?
Yeah.
I remember getting it
good.
in the one in Circle Street when I was mad with it.
Aye.
I waited fucking an obscene amount of time for it.
There you go, that's an answer to the piss-up question. What time was this?
Is that the one that Maya Jam was punting now on the advert?
Anything that she punts,
That's it. Kamar Roof's cousin. There is a picture online of her in a Rangers top.
Jimmy Bell's cousin.
Remember that?
It was last season. That was brilliant, man.
Only real ones will know that was hilarious, man.
Oh, it was outstanding.
I have to go back.
It's hilarious, man.
To go back and watch that.
The face is up.
Was that when he was alive?
Aye, still kicking a ball.
I need to go back and find that clip. I forgot that existed. Fucking Jimmy Bell's cousin. Is it?
Aye, what's happened there?
Brilliant. Anyway, right, that on that note, I think that's a somber ending to the comeback episode of the podcast. We're all pretty chuffed with that. It was good.
It was
I
good
think
fun.
it's good to get back into the swing of things, you know. It's like
Absolutely.
putting some WD-40 on and then just going for there. Anyway, I'll shut up now. Kieran, thanks very much, mate.
You're welcome.
Made it sound very genuine. Callum,
And I'll start to that.
thank you very much.
Nice seeing you, mate.
You too.
See you in the
You make it easy. And Ryan McGinley, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
And, on that note, I think we can shut the laptop down and we can call it a day. Make sure to hit like and subscribe on the channel if you haven't already, and also make sure to follow us on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating, all the rest of it. Hopefully there'll be more to come from us soon. We'll see what happens. Right, thank you. Cheerio. Goodbye.